Well, it is Saturday and beat a couple of favorites yesterday at Saratoga, so that's good. There should be a lot to beat today. It's a pretty good looking card today. Lots of big fields, so all good. Let's roll right into it. I want to take a look at some races early on. I think the early pick five is really gettable today. The late pick five, a little confusing in a couple of spots, but I won't get into that. Race number one, 5.5 furlongs. We'll start there, this maiden allowance. There's a horse that's going to get bet a lot, and anybody who does any kind of trip handicapping will be all over the 7-horse War Smoke. It says bump between at the start. I mean, he kind of got taken right out early on, so he's the number 3, so we'll watch by the time I get this. Yeah, that's him in behind there with the green hat. So he breaks maybe a step slow, but then he really, well, those two kissed pretty good. But he's way back here, so now he's going to go to the outside and do his running from there. I thought he ran on pretty well after that. He finished up pretty strongly and just missed, finishing second. So obviously he's going to be bet like so hard. But there's another horse that I propose has a good chance as well, coming out of the same race. It's the 1-horse Giramonte. Whereas War Smoke, because of what happened early on, was relegated to being a closer, a chaser. Giramonte off the claim. This was an amazing race for his new connections. I mean, he was battling early. He'd never shown really that kind of jam before. He was close the start before in a pretty fast early pace of 21, just shy of 22 from an outside post. So the fact that he showed the speed from post 11, that was pretty good. I mean, if he does that again, he might be able to win. He won't be the favorite. War Smoke is clearly going to be the favorite, but I think Giramonte proposes an interesting alternative down on the inside, especially if he shows that speed. I'm not really too interested in much else in this race. The 5 King Angelo maybe, because he also has some tactical speed, which he's shown. He just can't quite seal the deal. Race number 3, so that was a watch horse, was War Smoke on everyone's watch list. Race number 3, those ones, they just don't offer value, right? Everybody sees the same thing. Mile and 16th on the grass for a non-1, good-looking allowance race. There's a horse I think I'll play depending on the odds, and it is a Chad. I think Chad Brown's going to have a good day today. There's a few horses of his that I like. This race is, we'll get down there. There it is. Number 8 horse, St. Joe Louis. The blinkers come off. So good effort at Tampa first start. Does what he should do. What you expect from the Chad Brown horses. Now he's a 4-year-old, so he started late as a 4-year-old, but he did win his second start. That was all good. Nice effort. There was a decent field, so there was some quality in there. Came out, and last start I thought he ran okay. He was sort of up in the race throughout, and then just kind of ran evenly. I'm most intrigued by the fact that Chad has decided to take the blinkers off, and for some strange reason, that's a really strong Chad stat. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. So maybe Rosario came back and said something, and Rosario's not riding. We get Irad for the first time. So I like that horse. I think, he's 7-2 morning line. He should be a decent 3-1, 4-1, probably right around there. Rosario's on Absam, so that's where we find him. I think that horse will take a fair bit of action. It's a maker horse. It's, a horse that's shown some signs. He's just, boy, it took him forever to break through, but at least it was Rosario who was on him when he finally did break his maiden. Not a watch horse. Just I do think that Chad Brown, you might want to just take a look. I think there's several of his horses that I like today. Race number 4, there is a watch list horse in here, and it's the 3-horse Palamos, and I almost, I watched her replay again from last time out. I'm almost a bit against her because she was really her own enemy in the stretch. She was lugging in. She didn't look like she was being very easy to ride for Junior, and I kind of didn't like that. This is a filly that's had, she started just twice as a 3-year-old. Now she's been out twice as a 4-year-old. She'll get bet off this last start. She can win off of this last start. She just wasn't exactly doing things very well. And she needs to be a bit better. She needs to improve, definitely. The 5-horse Baby Blythe, this is one that I like. The last race was even. It actually, I think, was a little bit better than what it looks like. It looks like it was just kind of a, whatever, like not much was going on. But I think it was a good stepping stone for her. They paid a fortune for this daughter of American Pharoah. I think she's well met. I think today might be a breakthrough day. I like the fact that Rosario's been loyal to her and will now be on her back for the third start. Shug McGahey, he lets these horses run themselves into shape. For the most part, he lets them learn while they're on the track. I think that she is, there's some quality there, and I do think that we'll see a good effort from her today. I'll pop over to race number 7 now. I actually have an out-of-town Thistledown watchless horse today. We'll get to that right after this. Race number 7. This is a Joe Sharp. I mean, this is in the late pick 5. This is one of the races that I find completely confusing in the late pick 5. It's a 40 non-2. So it's a claimer. It's a full field of 12 on the grass on the inner, going a mile. Getting position is going to be oh so important here. The 3-horse, one of many Chad Brown horses on the card today that I think looks well placed. The Pletcher horse looks like he could be okay. I mean, just this sloppy race, who cares? He's a little, has shown he's better on the grass. But it's way outside where I'm going, and I don't know how Santana is going to get himself the right kind of trip in here. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I'm hoping that he does. And for Joe Sharp has been unconscious this meet, just quietly racking up the wins. It's amazing how well his horses are running. He's having a great season, but he's really having a good Saratoga. This horse went to California, started out in the east, went west, came back east, and Joe said, okay, I'll take my chance with him. This start, just a wide trip. He was in the race early on. It didn't quite work out a mile and 16. It shortened right up to 7 furlongs. Had a troubled trip, ran okay. Last time out, got himself so far back on the yielding turf that he really had no opportunity to do a lot of running. Now we get the blinkers on. It's not that this is a super strong Joe Sharp stat, but I think for this horse, it's an important adjustment. Get some blinkers on him. Again, I don't know what kind of trip Santana is going to work out. This horse has no speed. Now shortens up to the distance of a mile and has to come from the outside. But I mean, he's got to be at least 12 to 1. So he's one that I'm throwing in, if you're playing like trifectas and stuff. He just interests me because the barn is doing so well. Out of town watch list horse, over to Thistledown, race number 8 today. There's 2 horses in here I think that stand out. A mile and a quarter. This is one of their stake races. They got a loaded card today. I like Thistledown. I do play them once in a while. My watch list horse, this is the horse to beat, the 4 Wicked Warrior. He's just been tremendous. He's in unbelievable form right now. But there's a horse that he couldn't beat before. It's Forewarned. You see, he beat him last year in an endurance race, so a mile and a quarter on the mud. Forewarned, if you ever want to see an interesting replay, I'm not going to show it here, but he basically clips heels early in this race at Belterra on the slop. You could barely see it because it was raining so hard. He was supposed to win, but he had a troubled trip. Wicked Warrior beat him that day. Came out here in Pimlico. This race was just way too tough for him. He just didn't belong here. He was 22 to 1 for a reason. It was just too tough. It was the wrong spot. So now he's back to Thistledown, a track that he has had some success over. He has defeated what is going to be the heavy favorite before. I'm interested. I mean, I play exactas in that race because still the 4-horse Wicked Warrior looks like the one to beat. But heading out of town for a little Thistledown action. God, it's so bright today. It's nice and sunny. Enjoy your whatever track you're handicapping. Again, Saratoga looks like it's Saratoga as we continue on into the. It won't be long before it's over. So we'll enjoy every moment while we have it. Have an excellent Saturday.